ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। There was a clarification which I will take it up first. The clarification is explain asat. What is the word? What is asat? Asat means. So, three important words in philosophy is sat, asat, and mithya. These are the three important words. So, sat means that which is existing. Sat means that which is there. That which exists at all periods of time, the past, the present, and future, and which is not dependent on anything else for its existence is Sat. It exists at all periods of time and not dependent on anything else for its existence. That is Sat. Asat is the exact opposite of that. That which never existed at any periods of time. That which never existed at any period of time. And the third one is Mithya. Mithya means that which has a temporary existence and is dependent on something. That is Mithya. Again I repeat. Sat is all periods of time independent. Asat didn't exist at all at any point of time. Mithya is that which has a temporary existence and dependent on something else, and is a temporary dependent existence. Why do we talk about asat? Why do we have to talk about, why do we even have to mention that which never existed at any point of time? Why can't, what is the necessity even to bring in a concept like this and confuse unnecessarily? Why can't you say there is Sat and there is Mithya? Athoda, why can't you stop? Why do you have to unnecessarily bring in the third factor as Asat? The third factor, Asat, is very, very important because it brings about a clarity in your thinking. Just to bring about a clarity in understanding. These three are used. That's all. Why these three are used? For intellect to understand the first fundamental thing the intellect required to understand anything is the opposite. For any thinking process to start, you need to start with the two and the two has to be opposites. Then only there can be, then only the thinking can proceed. Otherwise, we will not know how to proceed in thinking. Therefore, therefore the concept of asat is required. The opposite is required all the time. Only in relation to the opposite, the thinking can move. Otherwise, thinking will not move, because intellect, for it to do an inquiry, it is necessarily dependent on opposites, bandhvas. First thing. Adillana, you will not know how to proceed in thinking. The second factor, asat. The second factor, asat, is very, very important, because whenever we say it doesn't exist, whenever we say something doesn't exist, the question is, when I say something doesn't exist, it is conflicting and contradictory to the other senses. When I say the world doesn't exist, when the eyes see as the world existing, how do you reconcile? You can't have two conflicting aspects as knowledge. Knowledge means it should not be contradictory. If the eyes are seeing one thing, eyes convince that the eyes are proving something to you, and thinking is proving something else to you. Now, then it is not knowledge, because it is contradictory in nature. So knowledge means that should not contradict. So when we say the world doesn't exist, even this shall pass away, anything, take don't go to the ultimate of Maya. We are not even going to that extent. Even in the relative plane, when we say things don't exist, the immediate question that the intellect will ask is, how can you say that which doesn't exist? Because I am experiencing it. How can you discount that as not existing, which I am experiencing? Are you able to follow till now? Now carefully follow. The asat is very, very important. If the idea of asat is not there, hallucinations will become reality. Because you are mentally seeing something, you are imagining something, and your imaginations appear real. How can you even negate it? Are you able to follow? So to discount that which the mind can imagine, asat comes in this. No. It never existed at any point of time. The world doesn't fit into the category of asat, because it has a temporary existence, and the temporary existence has certain principles. What is the temporary? Even though we say the world is temporary, that temporary existence is not an existence like Spider-Man or Superman. It's not an existence like that. It is existing with certain principles. There is the law of karma, there is the cause and effect, there is the sadhana sadhya. So there are so many factors that goes into it, which gives it a reality. So there are two things that we are experiencing. One is the mind imagining something, another is it is temporary. Mind's imagination is what is mind's imagination? I have given this example before. When I was a child, I used to be so impressed by the, what is it? Avengers and all that. No. In those days, it is not Avengers and all that. You can only read comics, and in that comics there is a character called, there used to be a character called Phantom. I don't know, some of you will still remember. There used to be a character called Phantom, and he will wear a ring. and that ring had a skull, and he will have a horse. Phantom 1, Phantom 2, Phantom 3, Phantom 4. Now that is Asat. Are you able to follow? That is Asat. Why that is Asat? Because there is no existence at all at any point of time except in a mind's imagination. Are you able to follow? You cannot call world as Asat in that sense. Therefore, Vedanta brings in these three words: Sat, Asat and Mithya. Asat sometimes can be called as Tucham. Asat is Asat. If you go to the Upanishad, the Upanishad will not use the word Asat. They will use the word Tucham. Just as the Upanishads doesn't use the word Bhakti at all. They use the word Upasana. Similarly, they don't use the word Asat. They use the word Tucham. But we use the word that which we are more familiar with. Now if we stick to those words, it becomes that much difficult to keep explaining those words again and again and again. Therefore, we use the words that which we are more comfortable with. Like if we take the Upanishads, the word Bhakti will not be found at all in it. That doesn't mean they don't talk about Bhakti. They use the word Upasana, which means Bhakti. Similarly, they don't use the word Asat. They use the word Tucham. Tamil kuda romba tuchama madigira dese no. Tucham. Tucham means that which doesn't exist at all. So Asat can be told as Tucham too. And what is Asat means? Asat is that which didn't have any existence at all at any point of time. The example that the Upanishad gives for Asat is man's horn. The man never had a horn in the past. The man will never have. The man is not having a horn in the present. So in future, in the evolutionary process, suddenly if man develops horns, how can you say that? Yeah. So a man's horn never existed in the past, never existed now, never existed in the future. The son of a barren woman, another example they give. How can a barren woman have if you say the son of a barren woman, that son is not Mithya, that son is Asat. Are you able to follow? That son is Asat. That which is imaginary is Asat. That which is not imaginary but has a temporary existence, and that temporary existence is supported by an adhishtanam, the God is Mithya. Are you able to follow? For Asat, there is no supporting factor as real. For Asat, there is no supporting factor as real. For Mithya, there is a supporting factor, adhishtanam, which is Satyam, which is known as Sat, loosely called as God, Brahman. The Upanishads doesn't use the word Satyam. The Upanishads uses the word Tvam, the I, the pure I. The pure I is Sat. That temporary which derives its support from that I is Mithya. The other extreme of that is Sat, which doesn't have any existence at all. But what happens is the Asat over a period of time, if you repeat it, appears to be Sat. Asat ரொம்ப நேரம் ஃபாலோ பண்ணினே இருந்தா Asat will appear to be Sat. Just as the child, the the child carried away Superman can actually believe that why all this problem, coronavirus, Superman will come and a Superman can come and save me from this situation. You associate with Asat over a period of time, that Asat will become Sat. In Yoga Vasishta, I have said this story before. In Yoga Vasishta, there is an extraordinary story. The story of born children. Are you able to understand the title? What is the title? The story of 3 unborn children. You can have a story about a child that is born. How can you have a story unborn child? But then the story, extraordinary story, the story of 3 unborn children. Now, when you read it, what your intellect will not grasp is the unborn will be missed. So what you will see it as the story of 3 children. But unborn sollirke, that is Asat. That will not be noticed at all. That will be completely missed. The story of 3 unborn children. Extraordinary story. This is how the story goes. In the city that never existed. How will you hear it? Third time you read the story, how will you hear it? You will start imagining that there is a city. In the city that never existed, there was a king and a queen. How can there be a king and a queen? If you can ask, how can there be a king and a queen? You have moved from Asat. But what happens is, because of the continuous association with it, you will start actually thinking that there is a king, there is a city, and obviously if there is a city means there has to be a king and there is a queen. And that king and queen had 3 children. 2 who never entered the womb. How can there be a child how can you have, and at every third word they bring in this Asat, but if you read the story, you go on missing it. And those 3 children grew up and they went to bathe in the river that have never seen water at all. See, you can have a dried up river. Dried up river means what? Water previously existed. So you can say a dried up river. You can't say a river that didn't see water at all means there is no. So after a while, actually when I read that story, I sat and visualized. After a while, what happens? You will start actually imagining that there is a kingdom, there is a king, there is a queen. They grow up and they went to swim in the river. Thus the story goes on. Rama, he says. Thus the story goes on. What is the end to the story? How does the story end? When will the story end? How does the story end? When will the story end? Title go pono. What is the title? The story of 3 unborn. Are you able to follow? That is why Ramayana and Mahabharata, we don't call them as stories, because they are not imaginations. Anything that is imaginary is Asat. Godfather movie is, what is Godfather movie? Okay, Godfather na romba kashtam illaya. Basha illaya. I'm talking about the Tamil Basha Rajinikanth movie. How many times I have seen that? 18 times I have seen that movie. like a man of perfection he is in that movie. Everything he does is complete in that. Yeah. He's like Brahman in that movie. The biggest, the dawn where the whole world is scared, but his own family members doesn't know that he is. His own people won't know that he is that. Oh my God, something extraordinary is that. Now this is Asat, which catches the imagination and fascination. Now the world is not Asat in that sense. What is world? The world is Mithya. When we say Mithya means what? A few conditions. What are the few conditions? Mithya means it has a temporary existence. The moment you agree that it has a temporary existence, certain things follows automatically. What are the certain things that follows automatically? It has an existence. The moment you say it has an existence, first thing that comes about is origin. So the Vedanta gives a lot of theories of creation. It's not just an existence, it exists with some principles. The law of cause and effect. Sadhana sadhya, karana karya. And then it will have an end. So it agrees that it has an existence. But the difference is it has a temporary existence. What is the temporary existence? It didn't exist in the past. It will not exist in the future. It will exist only in the present. Are you okay till now? Second thing is, for it to temporary existence means it is dependent on something else for it to exist. The pot is dependent upon the clay for its existence. The temporary pot is dependent for the existence. The moment you say that it has a temporary existence in a, what is proved there? What is proved there? There is a permanent factor is proved. Are you able to follow? Vedanta. That's where we start. That's how the whole premise is built. The moment you call it as temporary, that which is temporary has to be supported by that which is permanent. Now you don't come to that permanent straight away. That temporary is supported by that which is another temporary, and that another temporary is supported by another temporary. Now you go on working backwards like this, you will hit upon something that which is permanent, which is not at all dependent upon any of these temporary factors. What is that permanent factor? That permanent factor is called Sat. So this world that you experience, this life that you experience is not an imagination like, it's not an imagination like phantom. Neither is it Sat like, the Brahman. Then what is it? Mithya. The moment you say Mithya, what is conveyed in Mithya? The reality is conveyed. The reality is conveyed. This is how these three words are very fundamental to knowledge. These three words are very fundamental to knowledge, and these three words you should have clarity. For the entire thing is built upon these words: the Sat, the Asat, and Mithya. So sequence of Solonumna: Sat, Mithya, Asat. Sat and Asat are opposites. In between that is Mithya. The world is Mithya. Mithya means that which has a temporary existence. If you take this and analyze every aspect of your life, everything is mithya only. For everything is existing, but it has a temporary existence. Where knowledge comes in is, where Vedanta comes in is recognizing the temporary as temporary is knowledge. What is knowledge? Recognizing the temporary as temporary is jnana. That's all jnana. Recognizing the temporary as temporary. Recognizing that which is permanent as permanent. Recognizing that which is temporary as temporary is jnanam. The three words, the sat, the asat, and mithya. Is it okay, ma?
No.
Seriya?
Yes, thank you.
Ah.
But I have to think about it.
Yes. Right. Now we come back to chapter 4, Yajna. From Sat and Asat and Mithya and all that, we come back to Yajna. Yajna is generally seen as the fire ritual. Yajna karma is generally seen as the fire ritual. Fire ritual equals action. Fire equals action. The difference between all other action and yajna karma is, in yajna karma, why do we call it as not just karma nu sonnale parada? Why do you have to call it as yajna karma? Because in yajna karma a special factor comes into play. What is the special? The recognition of the higher. The recognition of the higher. To put it very simply, action produces a result. There is no need for reality, there is no need for God at all. There is no need for God at all, because God is pure consciousness, witnessing principle. Are you able to follow? God means pure consciousness, witnessing principle. Action produces result. If we take these, if we action by itself produces the result. If we take this, which is very convincing as in logic, one vital factor is missing. What is that vital factor is missing? The vital factor that is missing is God. So yajna karma brings in the third factor, God. Yajna karma brings in the third factor, God. Otherwise, God, okay, go about the thinking process step by step. Action will produce a result. You do the right action, right result. You do the wrong action, wrong result. You do the right action, right result. You do the wrong action, wrong result. Therefore, no need to bring in God at all and confuse. Therefore, God becomes a superstition. Therefore, God becomes an imagination, like Asat. Are you able to follow? Vedanta comes and says, no, no, no. God is not asat like that. And if we say God means, and if we take the definition of God means enlivening principle and witnessing factor. Enlivens and witnesses. Again, it has got nothing to do with action. Since it has got nothing to do with action, how does any action can help you to remind God? This is tricky. That's why Yajna Karma is slightly tricky. Yajna Karma as in fire ritual is very easy. Yajna Karma as in this is very slightly tricky. Because how can you account for the God principle? Are you able to follow? Therefore, he says, Yajna Karma is action done with the remembrance of God. Action done with the remembrance of God. When action is done with the remembrance of God, it ceases to be an ordinary action. It becomes Yajna Karma. Now Yajna Karma cannot mean just the ritual, just the fire ritual. Each and every action of yours throughout the day, throughout the night, 24/7, you are in action, and in and through these actions, you should be able to remember God. How to do that? He starts from verse number 25, 12 yajnas. It's called 12 yajnas. He's using the fire ritual as an example. He's using the fire ritual as an example. Example of what? How to remind yourself of how to remember the divine. Okay, why should one remember the divine? I'm just summarizing all we have discussed till now. I'm not going into the details. And why does a person have to remember the divine? If the divine is not remembered, kartrutva gets stronger. As it is, the action is started with the kartrutva. And if the third factor is not brought in at all, you end up having more and more kartrutva only. And the person who has this kartrutva is bound to get disappointed, is bound to get disturbed. For he realizes that other than his action, there is something else also, that other than your action, there is a plus factor that determines the result of your action. That plus factor is what is called as God. So you can say action plus God, or God plus action. Yajna Karma says God plus action. It's not action plus God. God plus action. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahudam, Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. God comes into the picture first. The purpose of action. The purpose of action. The moment you talk about action, action must have a purpose. Okay. Understand it like this. Action will always have a purpose. There cannot be a purposeless action. There cannot be a action without any, it is impossible. Action means what is presupposed in an action? A purpose. A person, understand this, a person is taking up to drinking. What is the purpose? There is a purpose even in that action. What is the purpose? Indulgence is the purpose. So all actions presupposes a purpose. you can call it as purpose, you can call it as intention, you can call it as motive, you can call it as ideal, you can call it as goal. But there is something that drives the action. First thing in Yajna Karma is determine, find out what is it that is driving your action. First thing that you need to ask yourself is, what is it that is driving your action? What then comes a factor? What all can drive your action? One thing that can drive the action is a better life. As I am today, I'm happy, but still I can make it better, no sir. Not that I'm disturbed or anything, but I can still make it better, no? So one purpose that drives the action is to make life better. Better life can be driven by two factors. இதெல்லாம் நீங்க mentally follow mathematically. இல்லையா? Chart மாதிரி எழுதி காமிச்சிட்டா ஈஸியா இருக்குமே சார்னா அப்புறம் then what is your work? You follow it. Now the purpose of life can be driven by two. What is it two? There can be a discontentment and you can want a contentment. There can be a contentment and you may want more contentment. Two possibilities again. It's not that everybody is driven by frustration, anger, frustration, disappointment. There is a contentment and the person says it can be made better also, no? So the purpose of action can be one. What is it? The purpose of action can be one. What is it? The purpose of action can be to make life better. And if you have to make life better, two things you need to be careful about. What are the two things that you need to avoid? துக்கத்தை அவாய்ட் பண்ணணும், எதெல்லாம் சுகம் கிடைக்கிறதோ அதை கோர்த்து பண்ணணும், அவ்வளவுதான். So the purpose of action is dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. This is formula. Are you able to follow? So the purpose of action is driven. What is it that it is driven by? To avoid dukkha and quote sukha. Then comes the question. Now comes the question. What is the question? Is this all to life or is there anything more to life? Is this all to life? Is this all to life means wanting the life to become better and better and better, and ultimately what? You leave everything and go. So the betterment is towards what? The betterment is towards nothing. The betterment is towards nothing. Even if you go to Swarga, that betterment of Swarga is also temporary only. So all the betterment ultimately is leading you nowhere. Nothing. Then comes the question. What is the question? Is this all the purpose of action or is there anything? Is there anything more to action? More to action means more to the purpose of action. The moment you start questioning, is there anything more? The shift has happened. The shift has happened. Is there anything more? Na? The shift has happened. And what is the shift? You don't know what it is. Carefully follow. You don't know what that better is. You don't know what that better is, but you know that what you call as betterment of life is futile. What you call as betterment of life is futile, but still you will not know what that better is. What you call as the best, you have understood it as futile, and yet what it is? The query starts, the inquiry starts. When the inquiry starts, carefully follow. When the inquiry starts, that inquiry must be merged with your action. You can't say inquiry and sit in one corner. You can't say inquiry and go and sit in the Himalayan caves. That inquiry must be integrated with your action. Here, what is that integration? Yajna karma is that integration. Yajna karma is that integration. Otherwise, do this inquiry now. Okay, sir, stop all the action and let us do inquiry. Which is what Arjuna symbolically told Krishna, let us stop fighting and let us do the inquiry. Krishna is coming and saying, do this inquiry must be integrated with your action. அப்படி ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் எனக்கு தெரியாது கிருஷ்ணா, அது எப்படி பண்ண முடியும்? அப்படி ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் எனக்கு தெரியாது. Remember you used to do yajna karma, Arjuna? Do that. That's the connection. Remember that you used to do yajna karma, connect with that. And what is that? Now he brings in that. What is it? Yajna karma. Now we start discussing. Now we have established what is yajna karma and what is we have set the ground for yajna karma. Till this point we have set the reasoning for the necessity and the reasoning for yajna karma. And what is yajna karma? The definition of yajna karma. The definition of yajna karma is action done for a higher purpose. You go on. If you remember, I said few minutes back, action is always driven by a motive, a purpose. So in yajna karma, the motive is something higher, nobler. When something higher and nobler comes into the picture, to that extent, the attention has shifted away from you. If the higher doesn't come into the picture at all, the attention is upon me and mine. If the higher doesn't come into the picture at all, the attention is always upon me and mine. At the grossest level, myself only, my comforts, my body and my comforts. Even the family has to keep serving my comforts only. Slightly better than that is accommodating a few. The moment you start accommodating a few, to that extent you have sacrificed the moment you have to accommodate a few, you can only accommodate a few by sacrificing what? By sacrificing your interest. So this sacrificing your interest for a higher cause is called yajna karma. Are you able to follow? So when you sit on the dining table and when something is kept on the table which is not of your preference, you don't put up a long face, you don't throw the plate and walk out. What do? You take it as yajna karma. What is it? Though it is not of your individual preference, you still you sacrifice. Are you okay till now? Here comes the question. The question that we all have. Here comes the major problem, fundamental problem. The fundamental problem that we will have here is, நான் மட்டுமே sacrifice பண்ணின்னு இருக்கணுமா? Why can't the other also? When I am sacrificing, why can't the other reciprocate and they also do some sacrifice? The moment I bring in this, what has gone out? Yajna karma has gone out. Because I have brought in what? I have brought in a condition. What is the condition? நான் மட்டுமே sacrifice பண்ணிருந்தா I look like a I look like a goat, sir. I look like a fool, sir. And others are exploiting. Not only I look like that, others are exploiting also. Are you able to follow? Yajna karma says, you sacrifice your interest for the welfare of the other. Now the other can be one, the other can be few, the other can be more. When the numbers increases, your self-centeredness decreases. As your circle of identification increases, the self-centeredness decreases. Please remember in this context, Swamiji's example of the circles of identification. He always draw the circle of identification and keep showing. This is the circle of identification. This is yajna. This is yajna karma. So what is set now? The purpose of yajna is set. How yajna karma is different from all other karmas are explained. The purpose of yajna karma is explained. The utility, the usefulness of yajna karma is also explained. If the usefulness is not explained, you will never do it. That's why the usefulness has to be explained first. What is the usefulness? The kartrutva. The kartrutva goes down. When the kartrutva goes down, you are more. When the kartrutva goes down, you are more. When the kartrutva goes down, your mental worries and anxieties goes down. When the worries and anxieties goes down, your dynamism increases. The intellectual dynamism increases. You become more sharp. You become more clear in your thinking. In that clearer thinking, what happens? In that clearer thinking, what happens? God plus action is only and the formula. And the God factor becomes more and more clearer. The God factor gets more and more. The God factor gets more and more clearer. The God factor gets more and more clearer. You are thinking about God more. And as you think about God more, over a period of time, as you think, so you become God. So the purpose of a karma at one stage is to remind you of God, at another level is to help you to become God. As you think, so you become. This is how yajna karma helps you to this is how yajna karma helps you to remind you of the divine. Kartrutva goes, the identification increases. By this, the clarity of what? Clarity of the God principle is more and more clearer. And as it gets more and more clearer, you start aligning with it more. You start thinking about it more. Then the formula applies. What is the formula? As you think, so you become. Therefore, yajna karma, Arjuna, is that which takes you to moksha, right up to aham brahmasmi. Up to that point, yajna karma takes you. Therefore, Shastras, great masters, Vedanta, they have this extraordinary value for this yajna karma. Are you able to follow? I am only setting the background for yajna karma. Ganesh, I am only setting that background for yajna karma. Once this background is set, then if we go into the individual yajna karmas, then you will know how one is connected to the other. Otherwise, it looks very confused. So get this background clear first. What is this background? Whatever I have explained now. It's not just a fire ritual. It is not just a kamya karma asking for a worldly result, worldly pala. It is that which helps you to remind God. Not only it helps you to remind God, it helps you to become. Therefore, yajna karma is a very important that ought to be done in your path to spiritual evolution. Incidentally, what happens is others around you also get benefited. Looking at you unaffected, the others get inspired. Otherwise, sir, idu only enakudana, but how about others? The way that you live life, the way that you set an example, those around you also get motivated, get inspired. So it is, yajna karma is a collective thing for evolution. You do it, you are doing inspires the other. This is how yajna karma works. A clarification. Raghu, once you sacrifice then if your emotions want the sacrificed thing, how to handle it? Is it a sin to eat the sacrificed item? I'm not able to follow the question. I'm not able to follow what he is asking.
Yeah, actually, suppose if you sacrifice some items,
Yes.
any vegetable
Yes.
or anything. So
Yes.
suppose if you like to have the sacrificed item.
Yes.
So how do you handle it? Like you mentioned something like you sacrifice wholeheartedly, but
Yes.
you sacrifice, but you want to have it. So
Yes.
how that works?
Yes. Okay. You want to sacrifice, and you still
sacrifice
want
wholeheartedly.
Yes.
You sacrifice some item wholeheartedly, but
okay.
later at some point in time, like you want to eat that vegetable or whatever.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So how that works basically, because
okay.
that time you had wholeheartedly sacrificed.
Yes.
And now
correct.
also it's the same emotion, you like it.
Yes.
So
correct. Yes. Yeah. Now I understand. What Raghuram is asking is, you sacrifice something wholeheartedly now, and then at a later period of time, you want it also. You at a later period of time, you want it also. What does one? The same thing. What you have sacrificed, you sacrifice something wholeheartedly now. When you are doing it in the present, you are genuine, you are wholehearted, everything is right. But then at a later point of time, that which you have sacrificed, you want it back. Don't mute him till I
yeah, if you want to be truthful, both the emotions are truthful basically.
Yes. Now what he's saying is, I sacrifice. After a period of time, what I sacrificed, I want it back. So the sacrifice is also true. Wanting it back is also a true. Is it a sin to take it back? Is it a sin that you wanting that which you have sacrificed? Is it, if you want it again, you sacrifice something, and if you want it back, is it a sin? Correct?
Sin. Either mind-wise or physically, both.
Yes, anyway. Is it either way, mentally or physically? Now, wanting it back at a future point of time is not a sin. Is not a sin. Why we don't call it as a sin? Because in the process of sacrifice, in the process of giving up, here sacrificing, here sacrifice, I'm connecting it to giving up. In the process of giving up, the residual vasanas are still there. The rasa is still there. What in Vedantic language we call it as the residual vasanas. The rasa is still there. So the rasa will make the mind go back to it. Are you able to follow?
Mm-hmm.
Rasa is still lingering. Like what is rasa? Ramakrishna Paramhansa gives a beautiful example for rasa. You cut garlic, fifth day also your hand has the
Smell.
Yeah, the fifth day also it will still linger. So even though you have given up, it takes a while for you to get established in it.
Okay.
So till you get established in it, the mind will keep asking for it again. The mind will keep wanting it again, which you cannot call it as a sin. What does one do in relation to that? The how does one handle it? The entire process of knowledge and manana has to be brought and understood that the rasa is still lingering, and as long as the rasa is there, some temptations will keep happening. I choose not to go by the temptation. I will be able to have the strength not to get carried away by the temptation. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Previously, there will be a temptation, and I won't even know that there is a temptation, and I get carried away. Now, by practicing this yajna karma and all that, what happens is, you know that you will be aware of your temptations, and the fact that you are aware of your temptation, you will be that much alert as to not to fall for it again.
Okay.
Therefore, the rasa will continue for a while. The rasa means the residual vasanas, the residual likes and dislikes. How does one handle that? Whenever there is a temptation, I choose not to get carried away by that. How can you do that? The temptation comes. This is where yajna karma as a solution. The temptation comes when I relax my action. When I am continuously in action, moving on to the next, the mind is so preoccupied with the next action, I don't give the mind an opportunity at all to remember this. Remember the rasa. How do I do that? When I have a set pattern of activity, when I have a higher disciplines to follow, I don't take a break from that. What generally people do is 6 days of discipline and 1 day of break from the discipline. Like I give this example: a person have a diet plan, and then they have 1 day called a cheating day. I always ask, what is this cheating day? Now, who are you cheating? What are you cheating? Now, when you do that, you are giving in to your mind again. The moment you give in to your mind, you need to start all over again. So what Yajna Karma does, Yajna Karma tells you that the mind is going back to the lingering again and again because you don't have a very high ideal. The moment you have a very high ideal to work for, you will not have, the mind is so occupied with that ideal that it doesn't have any time for indulgences at all. The mind wants it back because we don't have any high ideals at all in life to work for. There is no any high ideals. There is no Shraddha in any high. Even if we have a high ideal, there is no Shraddha in it. Like what in modern day language they call commitment, the right word, commitment. There has to be a commitment. There has to be a commitment. Whenever I relax in the commitment, the mind will instantly want to go and pick it up. The mind will immediately want to pick it up. Therefore, Yajna Karma comes and says, I still remember saying, Swamiji saying, you have an ideal such that it will take 3 janmas for you to get there. What it means is, for the next 3 janmas, you are taken care of. And if you are so preoccupied with the high ideal, since you are no more thinking about the lower falls off automatically. Because how the desire is maintained, how the desire is sustained, the desire is maintained, the desire is sustained by you thinking about it. And you don't give yourself an opportunity to think about it. How can you do that in a positive way when you work for a higher ideal? If you don't have a higher ideal, carefully follow. If you don't have a higher ideal and you are not thinking about the desires, you will get frustrated. You will get suppressed. You will get repressed. Because there is nothing higher for the mind to be motivated about. Therefore, what Yajna Karma tells you, you work for a higher cause, you work for a higher ideal, and when you are in that higher ideal, when you are working for that higher ideal, what happens is the mind is so committed to that, the mind is so inspired by that, it is no more thinking about the lower. So what happens is that which you have given up, over a period of time, the mind will not want it again. Are you okay? Till now?
Yeah, it's okay.
This is how
It's
it goes.
difficult to follow. It will be a simple yogurt rice and potato.
It is difficult to follow, correct? It is difficult to follow. That I fully agree. But my job is I have taken the easy portion. The difficult portion of practicing it is left to you. The easy portion of talking about it I have taken. I know it will always look easy for me only.
Because when you see things daily in front of you sometimes,
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Thank
is
you
difficult.
so much for your time.
Yes, it is difficult, but this is the only way.
Yeah.
It is difficult, but it is the only way. As in, because it is the core. Because this is the core of the knowledge. And always the core is difficult, Even in physical exercises, what is the most difficult part to exercise? If you have exercised, working on the core. You can walk, you can jog, you can run, but to work on the core is something which is very, very difficult and very. That's why so many people who have a starting point of exercise itself is difficult. Having started, core is much more difficult. Yeah, core means the core of the body, the core muscles, the lower back. Are you able to follow? because the core is always difficult. The core is always difficult. But the problem is, always remember this, the difficulty is all the wrong things goes and sits in the core first.
Mm-hmm.
And in exercising, that will be the last thing to go. When I start gathering weight, it will not start with my cheeks. It will not start with my arms. It will start with my abs, my stomach first. And that will be the last thing to go. Yajna karma says it will account till that, and it will take you right up to that. That's the beauty of this verses 25 to 30. It has taken into account everything, and it will take you right up to that point. Is it okay, Raghu?
Yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah.
giving so much time. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes. This is something which is very, very important to understand. Because of the rasa, it will be tempting, but you need to work towards it. And if you have to work towards it, you can't simply say work towards it, work towards it, work towards it. What he has done is he splits up actions, he splits up experiences into the specific parts, and he gives a specific formula to deal with it. This is how the 12 yajnas, this is how the yajna karma, the 12 yajnas is a complete formula. Another clarification. In the example of being served something on the table that is not aligned to my preference, accepting this as prasad, you said, is yajna karma. Correct. Yajna karma here is on the recipient. Is it from the recipient point of view, every time I give up my likes and dislikes? Is it yajna karma? All that Meera is asking is, also sacrifice pannina, that's all she is asking. When will I pay attention to myself also? How long will this go on? Every time pay attention, other, when will I pay attention? Now, is it not that you have to pay attention to yourself first? By paying attention to the other, you are paying attention to your own self in identifying with the goodness in you. So when you are paying attention to the other, it is not paying attention to the other. You are moving away from the asura in you. Since the other is helping you to move away from the asura in you, avalku or namaskaram pannittu thank you solradum avladha. Because they are helping you, no? If the other is not there, you are associating with the asura in you. What is asura in you that you are associating with all the time? Me and mine, me and mine, me and mine. So Meera always has, she's very scholarly person. She is. Yeah. ரொம்ப படிச்சுட்டு ஐஐடில எல்லாம் முடிச்சுட்டு வந்தாலும் இப்படி இப்படிலாம் தான் இருக்கும் இல்லையா? ஆல் தட் ஷீ இஸ் சேயிங் இஸ் வாட், எவ்வளவு சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறது அடுத்தவங்களே ஆல் த டைம். வேர் டு ஐ கம் இன்டு தி பிக்சர் தென்? How will I pay attention to myself? அது கொஞ்சம் டைம் கொடுங்க சார். 6 days I will pay attention to others, 1 day I will pay attention to myself. All the modern day advice is what? Pay attention to yourself first, no? In you there are two. What are the two in you? The two in you is asura and deva. There are two in you. There is an asura part in you, and then there is the God part in you. How to get rid of the asura part in you? Because if you pay attention to you, by default, by mistake, you will be only increasing the asura aspect in you. The Daivik part in you will not be attended to at all. So if you have to attend to the Daivik part in you, the Asuric part has to be, killed, has to be strangled, has to be suffocated, has to be killed. Yeah, then only it will work out. Then only it will work out. Otherwise, what will happen? Uh, uh, I have to pay attention to myself also, sir. When I say I have to pay attention to myself also, what do I mean attention to myself? How can you pay attention to yourself?
Being selfish.
How can you pay attention to yourself? By torturing the others to pay attention to you. Because you can't pay attention to yourself all by yourself. You need the other to pay attention to you. Are you able to follow? So that is why I will say, yeah, these are all very subtler things, but very simple also. How do you pay attention to yourself? Do you pay attention to yourself all by yourself? You can't pay attention to yourself all by yourself, no. So you need the other. இல்லையா? ஒரு காஃபி வேணும், ஒரு கோகோ வேணும். See, coffee and cocoa others will not know. இல்லையா? Coffee and cocoa is her dogs. இல்லையா? ஒரு காஃபி வேணும், ஒரு கோகோ வேணும், இல்லையா? ஒரு ஹஸ்பண்ட் வேணும், ஒரு ஒய்ஃப் வேணும், ஒரு சைல்டு வேணும், ஒரு ஜாப் வேணும், ஒரு வெல்த் வேணும். All this so how do you pay attention to yourself? You are paying attention to yourself by going on using this. You use all this. Asura is that. What is Asura Guna? Asura Guna means using the other for your pleasure. What is Yajna Karma? What is Yajna Karma? Sacrifice. Please remember, you don't sacrifice for the happiness of another. I have told this any number of times. Incidentally, the other gets benefited. Your ideal for sacrifice is the purpose for which you do sacrifice is for what? Not for the others to be happy. Incidentally, the others get happiness. That is more incidental. Where is your focus? The focus is from the Asura Guna, I need to go to the Daiva Guna. The eyes see the wrong things and the eyes see the right things also, no? The ears hear lectures and the same ears hears gossips also. இதே காதுதான் லெக்சர் கேட்கறது, இதே காதுதான் is listening to the gossips also. Now, what do you do? What is paying attention to means? 6 days I will listen to lecture, sir. 1 day I will listen to gossip. 2 hours I will listen to lectures. Rest of the 22 hours I will listen to gossip. That is what is known as paying attention to yourself. So when we say you pay attention to yourself, paying attention to yourself means using the other. In Yajna Karma, you don't use the other. Are you okay till now? When you stop using the other, you are performing sacrifice. This is called love. This is called affection. When you stop using the other, you don't use the other. That's all it means. Otherwise, I'm constantly using the
Other.
I'm constantly using the other. So what is sacrifice means? What is giving happiness to the other means? Stop using the other. Why I stop using the other? Because I have understood happiness is not going to come through this. Happiness is going to come through something higher. Happiness is going to come through something higher. Are you able to follow? This is how it works. So, is it Yajna Karma? Is it always done from the recipient point of view every time? And I give up my likes and dislikes? Is it Yajna Karma? You will be suffocated if you think this is Yajna Karma. You will be frustrated if you think this is Yajna Karma. Because you feel the other is enjoying and you are getting frustrated. So, abdinna self-frustration is Yajna Karma. Self-frustration is not Yajna Karma. Yeah, self-frustration is not Yajna Karma. you are getting frustrated and the other is happy, you get more irritated at their happiness. நான் கஷ்டப்பட்டு இருக்கிறேன், why are you happy? When I am suffering, why are you happy? Yajna karma comes and says, neither I am suffering, neither are you suffering. The focus is the highest. Is it okay, Meera?
Sir, I didn't know I was asking this question.
Yeah.
I didn't know this is what I was asking.
Yes.
Gives me a lot of other answers.
Correct.
Gives me a lot of other answers.
Yes. Now, last clarification and then I conclude for today. Bharat, in reference to verse 22, a perfect human being is mentioned. Can you clarify that with reference to Satya, Sat, Asat and Mithya? Verse number 22. Content with whatever is got unsought, rising above the affairs of opposites, free from envy, equanimous in success and failure, though acting he is not bound. With reference to Sat, Asat and Mithya. Can it be connected to Sat, Asat and Mithya? Now, contentment, the content, what is Asat? Asat is joy or happiness or contentment is only when I get the result is Asat. In relation to the action, what is Asat? Satisfaction or contentment is there only when I get the result is Asat. What is Mithya? Mithya is it is not the result that it is going to give me the satisfaction. I should find the satisfaction in the doing itself. It's temporary. In the doing itself. What is Sat here? Sat is though acting he is not bound. Though acting he is not bound is the Sat. How can you call that as Sat? How am I saying that as Sat? Because the action inevitably brings a bondage. Action inevitably brings a bondage. This man has broken that pattern. He is acting and still he is not bound. This is Sat. What does Sat means? Electricity, enlivening everything, but not affected by that which enlivens. Electricity, enlivening everything, but not affected by that which it enlivens is Sat. Right. Clear? Now, actions will inevitably produce a result, and that result you have to experience is the bondage. It means this person is, why do I call this as Sat? Because this person is acting and he is not bound by that action. He is not bound by that action. That's why I spent some time, I remember I spent some time explaining, though acting he is not bound. Though acting he is not bound. How is it possible that he is acting and not bound? How is it possible that he is having chilies and not having a stomachache? Because he has understood. What has he understood? Because he has understood. What did he understand? It's not only the result is Mithya, the action itself is Mithya. The action itself is mithya, like actor on the stage. Action itself is mithya, na? Like actor on the stage. On the stage, I am the emperor of the world. On the stage, I am the emperor of the world. And in the front row, 4 fellows are sitting. They are telling me, after the play is over, collection வச்சு என்னோட காரெல்லாம் அடைச்சிட்டு போ. I'm acting on the stage as the emperor of the world. In the front row, 4 fellows are sitting, telling me, pointing out what collections ella today's collection is for me, because interest ke seriya poidu. Because now when I'm acting on as a world emperor on the stage, it is, I am not bound by that. I can't say as an emperor all my loans are waived off. No, it doesn't work that way. No, you follow? He is not bound because he has identified with the Sat principle and acting. Since he is identified with the Sat principle and acting, once you identify with the Sat principle, you become Sat. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Sat becomes the Sat. The knower of truth becomes the truth. Therefore, since he has become the truth and acting, that is Sat. That part of it is Sat. What is Asat? I'm just repeating again, summarizing. What is Asat? Asat is an imaginary notion like phantom. What is that imaginary notion like phantom? Contentment will come only if I get the result. Result comes, but contentment doesn't come. No. It's not that the result doesn't come. The result comes. But what doesn't come with the result? The contentment doesn't come. Therefore, that part of it is
Asat.
Sat. And what is mithya? Mithya is what generally people talk. Don't worry about the result and all. Enjoy doing whatever you do. You should. Whatever you do, you should enjoy. No, sir. Whatever you do, you should enjoy. How can you enjoy? Only when the attention has shifted to the Sat. So in mithya, Sat is included. In mithya, Sat is included. In Sat, mithya ceases to exist. Avladhan. In mithya, the pot, the clay is included. In clay, the pot is non-existent. So, when you are in mithya, you can recognize the Sat factor. When you become the Sat, mithya ceases to exist. This is how the Sat, Asat and mithya works. Is it okay, Bharat?
Hey, Guruji. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Think in this, and if you have something, I'll still take it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm extremely sorry, Bala. He is the first one to clarify, and I didn't I didn't see it at all. Bala, what are you saying? Is it mithya or nitya? Is he there, Bala? I'm assuming it is mithya. Is mithya same as maya? Nitya is, yes, Bala. You are saying nityam is permanency.
The problem is I'm not able to due to this audio thing, right? Zoom.
Oh, right. Okay.
M for mango or N for Nancy, on the confusion.
Okay. Right. Okay. He was having that problem with the audio thing. That's why he couldn't hear. Now you are clear, no? Now you are okay, no?
Still, you can probably one more time clarify. So, is it nitya as an N for number or M for mango? Which one, nitya or mithya? Mithya na illusion, abdinra mari I thought.
Yes, nitya, nityam, anityam.
Okay.
Nitya, N-I-T-Y-A, nitya.
So, sat, asat and nitya.
Sat, asat and mithya. இங்க வந்து me, என்னக்கு பதிலா m.
Okay, so mithya, which is kind of equivalent to illusion, maya.
Illusion, maya. Yes.
Okay.
Why we use the word? Why we don't use the word illusion or maya? Because whenever we say illusion, it can refer to asat also.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's why we specifically don't use the word illusion, because whenever we use the word illusion, it can mean a person can misunderstand it as asat also.
Okay.
That's why to make it very clear, we use the word mithya.
Okay. So something
M-I-T-Y-A,
MYTIA, which is something temporary in nature.
which is temporary in nature.
Okay.
That which is temporary in nature. Temporary in nature means this. The senses see them as real, buddhi understands them as temporary.
Buddhi understands it. Okay, okay.
So and the mithyangaradhu vandu is a function of the buddhi.
Understand. Okay, okay.
Mithya is not a function of the senses. For the senses has to see it as permanent only.
Okay, okay.
It is the buddhi that understands it as temporary.
Temporary. Okay.
So sat, asat and mithya, M-I-T-Y-A.
Excellent. Thank you. That part I am clear. And
Yeah.
on the Sat definition, it was very beautiful you put it. In the past, I understood from the Ramakrishna mission, Tattva Bodham Adi Shankara.
Yes.
Dialogues. Kim.
Yes. Yes.
So one of the Kim will be Sachidanand. He will explain what Sat
Yes.
Kim. He
Yes.
says, I was just about, when I was talking, I was so curious, I couldn't resist my jignasu mentality. And then Sat Kim abdindradhukku, he says, Kalatrayevi Tishtavivi Sattaha. Kalatrayevi is Mukkalathilum
Yes.
Edu.
Yes, Kalatraya, correct. Kalatraya. That which exists in the past, that which exists now, that which will exist in the future without any modifications. It exists in all periods of time and it doesn't go through any modifications. Two factors. God remains the same in the past, God will remain the same in the present, God will remain the same in the future. So Sattana Adhan definition. Tattva Bodhala he gives it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We'll continue next week. We'll go into we'll start from the 12 yajnas next week.
Thank you.